Hey Thriving YouTube fam, welcome back. In this video, we're gonna have some fun in this video, and hopefully this video really helps. And you might want to share this video with as many people as possible, especially when we talk about high functioning autism, when you talk about ADD, ADHD, if you're on the spectrum, if you're neurodivergent, because we're gonna have some fun here. We're gonna talk about it, and especially with this title is the superpowers of Alex Hormozi. I mean, does he have high functioning autism? And before we get going here, as a disclaimer, I love Alex Hormozi. So this isn't going to be a video bashing Alex Hormozi. Okay. I love him. I love his material. I relate a lot to him. I don't know the guy. Okay. Maybe one day I'll meet him, but right now I don't know the guy. But I love his work. And in this video is really around like, why are they ultra successful? Why are they successful, baby? Okay. And a lot of times when we talk about high functioning autism, we talk about it in a sense of it's a weakness. And it's not a weakness. All your little quirks that you have is not a weakness. And maybe you've been told this your whole life. Maybe it's something that you just told yourself that it's a weakness, but it's not a weakness, okay? All your little quirks you have are superpowers, okay? You're basically superhuman, okay? Your mind works like a supercomputer, okay? That's how your mind works. With that being said, what you gotta learn is you gotta learn how to control your superpower, okay? Because once you learn how to control your superpower, you can pretty much dominate in any industry, in any field. Anything you want to do, you could dominate. Okay, if you're into success and manifesting, well, you can dominate in success and manifesting. I mean, once you learn how to control this superpower, when we talk about manifesting, we talk about living life on your terms. I mean, you have a skill that most people don't. And it's like manifesting on steroids once you kind of switch your mindset a little bit. And other than that, let's kind of get rocking and rolling. And one of the questions before we get going here is, why do I think Alex Hormozi has high functioning autism? Or maybe he don't have high functioning autism, but he does have the traits. He is on the spectrum. I mean, just in my opinion, just from watching him and also looking at the advice he gives other people. Okay. Now, maybe not nowadays when you see his videos, because he's crazy popular on YouTube, across social media. I mean, he has an amazing team that helps him and stuff like that. He has a huge team that helps him. But when you go back to his earlier videos, when he pretty much just filmed in a little tiny office in his house, or it looks like he's filming in a closet. And that's actually where he had his computer set up. That's actually where he worked, where he chose to work. And when he gives people advice, he says, work somewhere with no distractions. Don't put nothing on the walls. And you see it in his videos. He's literally sitting and he's working where there's nothing on the walls. He's working in a really confined space, no distractions. And one of the things I saw right away is, dude, that's a high functioning trait. That's neurodivergence. That's a high functioning autism trait, because any distraction throws you off. Okay, let me go a little bit deeper here. And another thing he said, because he's very obsessed, he's very into what he's doing. He don't want no distractions. He can sit there, listen to me here, for example. If you listen to him talk, he's sitting there for hours and hours and working, very obsessive. Again, that's a high functioning trait. Okay, you're very obsessive with what you do. Okay, and another key aspect here is that these bad boys. Now, 100% if you have high functioning, if you're neurodivergent, if you're on a spectrum at all, okay, sometimes even if you have ADD, ADHD and stuff like that, these are noise canceling headphones. Okay, why does Alex recommend noise canceling headphones? Okay, because noise is a major distraction for him. Okay, again, this is a huge trait if you have high functioning. Okay, you have a high functioning mind. Okay, then on top of it, he's wearing these bad boys while he's working in a closet with zero distractions, whatsoever. Okay. But even right now, even when I was filming this video, right before I hit record, okay, I had a bird. The window's right here. I have it closed. Like you see the light come in. There's a bird sitting right outside the window, literally chirping really loud. And it's literally feels like it's chirping in the side of my ear. And even though I have excellent mics, I can take the sound out. Like, dude, the noise just bothers me. Like if I'm sitting here talking, all I can flip and hear is this bird chirping. And in my mind, I'm ready to get a pellet gun and shoot it. You get me on that? And so again, like this is a whole video about Alex. Like, does he have high functioning autism? In my opinion, yes, some sorts. But what I really think too is that lots of times when we're older, I don't know how old Alex is. Okay, but lots of times when we're older, when we've grown up, we've learned to control it. Okay, maybe when we were growing up, like Alex kind of grew up like me a little bit. Now Alex was heavily into sports. I was heavily into martial arts. I went really far in martial arts. I was training to be on the Olympic team. I competed and trained professionally. So I mean, I was very, very, even through high school, my whole high school, I was very, very obsessed with working out and martial arts. Okay, it's kind of the same way for Alex. Alex, when you listen to his story, he was very, very obsessed with being in sports. Okay, that's all he did. He worked out. He was massively in shape. I think he competed professionally at some point in bodybuilding or something like that. And so he's very, very obsessed. But you see what he's done is that for whatever reason, he didn't let that obsession kind of take him down a negative rabbit hole, okay? Because it can, okay? When you deal with high functioning, your obsessiveness, it really depends upon what you focus on. If you focus on the wrong thing, you become obsessed with the wrong thing, and that's what kind of deteriorates your life. Okay, now with Alex, he was obsessed with sports. So you don't really see, like when you're growing up, you don't really see that you have high functioning or high functioning traits or neurodivergent traits, is because they just think, oh, he loves sports. He's a sports guy. But then when he gets into business, that same obsession grows over in business. Okay, he becomes obsessed, and that's all he flipping does. Okay, that's all he really wants to do. Bottom line, or it's personal development, whatever. And that was kind of me in life too, is I become very, very obsessed. And like I said in the beginning, like kind of switch it around here, because I don't want to go off on a rabbit hole really fast, is because I really want to help you guys out, especially if you think you struggle with this, if you know you struggle with this, if you've been diagnosed. And the really point of this video is to let you know that it is not a weakness, baby. Okay, it's a superpower. Okay, but the thing is, it's about controlling your superpower. It's not about, listen to this, it's not about, if you're obsessed, and most high functioning minds are obsessed. Listen, it's not about not being obsessed. You get me? It's about realigning your obsession. Okay, you get me on that. It's not about not being obsessed. It's about what are you obsessed on. It's about controlling your obsession. You get me? It's not, listen to this. It's not about you overthink, you overanalyze. It's not about trying to stop overthinking or overanalyzing. It's about controlling what you're overthinking about. Okay? You get me on this. Okay? Another high functioning trait is we think on loops. Okay, you think about the same thing every single day. Maybe you wake up in the morning, your mind goes into a negative cycle, but you catch yourself that you're thinking the same thing every single day. Your mind thinks on loops. Okay, it's not about, listen, it's not about trying to stop thinking on loops. It's about controlling what you're thinking about. Okay, this is what I mean. You got to control the superpower. Okay, the reason why your mind thinks on loop as a high functioning mind is because your mind disagrees with something, and your mind is trying to figure out a result to stop it. But when your mind can't figure it out, you think on loops. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. Like, you understand what I'm talking about if you struggle with this. Okay, you might have an aha moment, but really, it's not about as. Even with Alex, okay, if Alex has high functioning or a high functioning mind or a high performance mind, let's put it that way, a high performance mind, that he's learned over time, he's learned how to control this superpower. And at this time, I wasn't going to do this in this video, but since I brought up high performance mind, that's really what your mind is. Your mind operates very, very high performance. Your mind operates like a supercomputer. Okay. Your mind operates like an Olympic athlete. That's how your mind operates. And I wanted to share some stuff with you. We'll jump over here. I'll do a screen share with you, and I'll share some stuff between a high functioning autism and a high performance mind. And you might really relate to this. So let's jump over to the screen and I'll share it with you. Okay, I'm over here on the computer here. Now let's really compare, like if you have high functioning autism, if you're on a spectrum or neurodivergent in any way, okay? Now, to be clear here is if you have high functioning autism, it's not one in fits all. It's not one sort of habits fits everybody, okay? This is why it's really, really hard and really, really tricky to really diagnose high functioning autism. Especially if you've been diagnosed, because it affects everybody differently. This is what you have to understand. So it's not like one puzzle piece fits everybody. So number one here, when we talk about high performance mind, is you have what's called hyper pattern recognition. This is really how your mind thinks. So all these things is how your mind thinks, how you process information, and so forth and so forth. So number one is high pattern recognition. So what I mean by that is you spot inconsistencies, rhythms, loops, and patterns faster than most people. And let me give you a really quick example on this. I live in Thailand, by the way, and sometimes I follow other people who have YouTube channels, but they only brand on Thailand. One of the things I noticed with their channels really fast, because I have a high functioning mind, is that sometimes I'll sit there and say, well, they lie to people. I mean, they sell the dream life. They sell the grass is greener on the other side. Okay. But I'll pick up really quick that, dude, you're not really telling the truth, really how it is to live in Thailand. You're just selling the dream. You get me on that? Like basically you find the holes when people talk and tell stories, you find the holes in it. You find that gray area that most people don't see. Okay. That's what I mean by that. And it goes on. I mean, whether it's systems, behaviors, or emotions, you pick up what repeats, which is why your thought loops are so precise and so hard to break. Now, this is kind of going to loop thinking, because as a high functioning mind, you think on loops, which goes into you're very analytical. You overanalyze. Sometimes you call it that. You might not call it thinking on the loop. You might just call it I overanalyze. But overanalyzing is loop thinking. Okay. Now, number two here, you have extreme focus. So usually what happens, you have extreme focus until you burn out. Okay. So you go all in on a task, idea, or obsession. And when you're dialed in, you outperform 95% of the people. So this is what you have to understand. Like all these things we're going through right now these are superpowers. Okay. Now this is how you turn them into a superpower. Now listen to this. You have extreme focus because you're obsessed with what you like, what you want to do. And when you're obsessed, you beat 95% of the people. Okay. That's what you have to understand. It's a flipping superpower. Even thinking on loop is a superpower, but you have to use it as a superpower. Okay. Because listen to this one more time. When you're dialed in, you outperform 95% of the people, but it comes with a cost. Okay. Your superpower comes with a cost here really quick. It's overstimulation. So when you overstimulate your mind, which when you overstimulate, you pretty much go through crash cycles, sensory overload. You feel kind of burnt out. Now, even with Alex Hormozi, really quick, I saw him on a podcast, and people asked him, like, what does he do? What does he do to kind of to relieve pressure, and if he feels burned out or whatever? Know what he said? This is very amazing to me. This is actually a high functioning trait as well. He basically said, like, oh, lots of times if I just need to, my mind's overloading, or I just need a break, I usually just sit on my couch and watch Netflix or watch a movie on Netflix or binge Netflix. Okay. The reason why it's a high functioning trait is because you're focusing on something, you're watching something, okay, which basically forces your mind to stop thinking. Okay. A lot of high functioning, again, listen to music. Okay. They listen to music all day long because when they're listening to music, it stops their mind looping. It stops thinking about work. If you're obsessed with work, it forces you to stop thinking about work. Okay. Okay. So it was amazing kind of when he said that because it's really a high functioning answer. Number 3, your internal world dominant. Listen to this. This is like you're a master manifester. Your internal world. I'm not talking about your external world. Your internal world dominant. Okay, you're dominant. You're a thinker. Okay, you overanalyze. So this is a superpower. Your internal world dominant. Listen to this. Your inner world is more vivid, louder, and active than most people's. Okay, that means you're a master manifester when you turn this into a superpower. Okay. Which means your loops, when I talk about loops, this is loop thinking, okay, are more detailed. Your standards are higher and your emotional GPS is intense, even if you appear calm on the outside. Number 4, high standards plus low tolerance for noise. Okay. I mean, this is like Alex Hormozi 101. He has very, very extreme high standards, like most, if you're on a spectrum, most people on the spectrum has very, very high standards for other people and themselves, and they have a very, very low tolerance for noise, which is why Alex always recommends noise canceling headphones. Okay. Listen to this. You're not sensitive, you're precise. You notice dissonance faster. Noise, inefficiencies, people being inauthentic. Okay. You notice these things. You're more sensitive to it. You're more sensitive to the noise. Noise throws you off. Okay. Like lots of times when I make videos, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, I gotta be in a quiet place. Like I said, I have good mics. Even if I can take out the sound with the mics or my editing software, even though I know you can't hear the background, I flip and hear it and it throws me off. Okay. You notice inefficiencies. You notice inefficiencies in other people, how they work. You notice really quick if someone's being authentic or not, if they're really being them. Okay. You notice these little tiny things that most people just don't. Most people skip over. They don't even know what you're flipping talking about half the time. And that makes you appear, listen to this, when we talk about high standards and low tolerance for noise, kind of that makes you appear controlling or too intense, but really it's just signal awareness. Okay. Bottom line. Number 5. Now, number 5 is the last one, and we're kind of move on here. Number 5 is binary emotional logic. What do I mean by that? Is the mind tends to go, this is right, this is wrong. So this is what I mean. Your mind, when you have high functioning, your mind tends to go right, wrong. There's no middle. There's no gray area. Either it's right or it's wrong. Like you get me on that? Like this is my Thailand example. When people do Thailand videos, or even they do very popular videos, this is why I'm like, there's no middle ground for me. There's no gray area for me. It's either they're telling the truth or they're not. Okay. If they leave anything out, they leave any detail out, I look at it as they're not telling the truth because they're not giving you the whole story. So your mind really thinks true, false. That's it. Right, wrong. That's it. It's good, bad. That's it. Okay. So let's continue. I kind of already said this, like, listen to this. Gray areas feel mentally noisy to you. This is where your mind sometimes can go off on a negative loop, because when people leave out the gray area, it becomes a negative to you because you're processing it as, why are they leaving this stuff out? Why are they lying? Are they doing this on purpose? You know what I mean? That's why I wrote down gray areas feel mentally noisy. So your system tries to reduce uncertainty by looping it where it makes sense to you, or it makes you feel safe, or you're trying to figure it out. When you loop something, you're trying to search for the answer, or your mind's trying to search for the answer, so you stop looping it. And then sometimes we're looping things. This is what I mean. You have to control their superpower. Sometimes we're looping things where there is no answer. Bottom line. And this is where you have to control the superpower again. So this is kind of goes back to my normal question. So when I say high performance mind, this is what I mean. Your brain is like a supercomputer. Okay, remember me saying that. Your brain operates like a supercomputer. Your brain operates like an Olympic athlete. Okay. But your brain, this is the thing, your brain locks in on patterns, repeats them with intensity, doesn't let go unless you tell it to. But without emotional alignment, that supercomputer turns in on itself. Okay. And the biggest thing, like with manifesting and success, I think that the biggest thing with a high performance mind is, and this is the downfall if you have high functioning autism and manifesting, is you have trouble letting go. Okay. The whole point of manifesting is being able to let go and let God. Let go and let the universe handle everything. Let go and just trust that it's going to come to you. Usually, if you're on a spectrum, you get attached to things very, very easily. And sometimes we see it in relationships. When you're in a relationship, especially in the beginning, you can be very, very obsessed with a person, and sometimes for years until you just finally let that go. Okay, you can become very, very attached in relationships, and that's where we kind of see it in other people, because we see the obsession. Now, moving on to the power. And the power is this. Okay, I've always said through this whole video, if you struggle with this, it's not a struggle. It's just you learning how to adapt, you learning how to turn this into a superpower. Again, like I said, it's not about you not being obsessive. It's about controlling your obsession. What are you obsessed with? You know what I mean? It's not about thinking on loops. Okay, it's not about stopping doing it. It's about, what are you thinking about? It's controlling what you're thinking about. Okay, it's not about stopping over analyzing. It's about, what are you thinking about? What are you over analyzing? Okay, are you over analyzing a negative situation and that's what you're thinking about? Okay, it's about controlling that thought process. What are you actually thinking about? What are you actually doing? Okay, so the power is this. Listen, once you realize, and this is very powerful, once you realize you're not broken, you're built like a machine, you stop trying to calm it down and you start retraining it to target power, not loops. That's the truth, my friends. Okay, I'll read it to you one more time because it's so powerful. Your power is this. Once you realize you're not broken, you're built like a machine, you stop trying to calm it down and you start retraining it to target power and not loops. But other than that, my friends, just want to share those thoughts with you and stuff like that. Like I said in the beginning, if you have a family member or anybody that struggles with this stuff, share this video, okay? Because lots of times, I know, even for my nephew has high functioning autism. He's been diagnosed with it since he's been in middle school. And, I feel, now I've never been diagnosed because I'm older, but I'm just like my nephew, okay? And in personality and habits and stuff like that. So that's why even for myself, I feel like I have high functioning autism. But I do know that a lot of people think it's a weakness. A lot of people's been told it's a weakness, or they've been made fun of in school, and they just think themselves that it's a weakness because I'm not like everybody else. And it is true. You're not like everybody else because, in matter of fact, in most areas, you're better than most people because your brain operates different. Okay. You have a superpower, but you don't know you have a superpower because you think it's a weakness, but it's actually a superpower, but you need to turn it into a superpower. Bottom line, it's not about fixing you. You don't need fixed. Okay. You just need to understand you have a superpower. That's it. Bottom line. But other than that, my friends, YouTube fam and tribe, comment below. Let me know what you think, and let me know what you think about this material and stuff like that. Other than that, peace out. Remember, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.